Hi everyone, this is Richard. In this video we're going to go over async and callbacks again. I'm creating a class, files on system, and short file is going to be short.txt. All it is short text, medium text, long text. Okay? Not too complicated, okay? Short file is going to be this new file, medium file, long file, and then I'm going to create some methods in the class. Future string, so string wrapped up by a future, and it's going to be named short and return short file read as string. And if we look at it, read as string right there, it is going to be a future, okay? And we're going to do that with all the other files. So here we're going to create a new file, a new object right here, file short dot then, and then so we're going to take the contents of the future out, grab the string from the inside of the future, right? And then we're going to go ahead and print the contents out. And we're going to do that for all of them. So let's see how it works. Now look at this. This is the medium, this is the long, and this is the short. It should be short, medium, and long. Medium, long, and short. Let's do that again. Short, medium, long now. Let's do it again. Short, medium, long. Short, medium. Medium, long, short. Okay. So you notice that it's not always in the right order. Why? Well, maybe because the way it's been on the disk and how it's reading it and stuff like that. The reason is it's just that the purpose of this is all non-blocking, right? We talked about that. It's not like it's waiting, hitting this, then you're waiting, then it's hitting this, then it's waiting. It's all done asynchronously, right? And so if I wanted to put something inside of here, like in between, print number 1, and then print number 2, and then in the end you wanted to print, or print short, medium, long. Number 3. So you might look at this and say, oh, okay, so I'm going to print the contents of this, say number 1 and number 2, and so on. But you might be a little disappointed because it prints those immediately because it takes no time to do those at all. Then it goes back and gets these contents when it's available because it still has to access the disk. This goes right through. The disk's access takes a little bit longer, then it just goes short text, medium text, and prints it from there on. Okay, so again, it's asynchronous, non-blocking. It goes to whatever comes first. Notice number 1, 2, and 3. You could run this 100 times. It'll always go 1, 2, and 3. Just because these are not asynchronous, it's not going to take long to do something like this, but these are basically synchronous by their very nature. Okay? Couple of other things. Instead of this, what else can we do? We can create a callback function, right? Callback function, string contents, and print contents. So instead of this, I could always just put callback function, but we do not call the function, right? We use it as a callback. So we can always do that. Let's make this a little bit simpler. And then we run it, and it'll run just the same. Short text will not make any difference whatsoever, okay? Although I wonder, yeah, it goes different ways right inside of here. I thought by going to accessing the callback function, if it would make even further of a delay, and it doesn't look like it actually is doing that. So that's the other option as well. Okay, so using a callback right inside of here, kind of like we did in the last video. Now, it was not clear in a previous video. I mentioned, how do we get this information out? We can use the file.long.then in order to get the information, the string, out of the future, but we can also use await also. But it's a little bit different. It's not quite the same, is it? So what you could do is, let's comment this all out. You could say string, because we're going to get the string value of it itself, string short equals file.short. But in order to get it out, you have to use the await. Okay? So Then you can get that out. Then you could say string medium equals await file dot medium. String long equals await file dot long. You can also do that at the same time. And let's run that. You actually have to print it, don't you? Short. And then you'll have to do that right here. And finally here. And you run it short, medium, long. Run it again. Run it again. It'll always be the same order. So notice, this is not the same thing as this right here, is it? So this is non-blocking. This is blocking. So what it'll do is it'll hit this area, await, it'll rip the future out of this right here. So rip out the string from the future, and you'll just have left with the string. So by using await, it works. But this is not the same thing as this. So you do have to be careful. This is blocking, so if short is like a big, huge, massive novel that's going to take a couple of, minutes to actually read off the disk, or if this is a website with very slow connection, it could take a long time. And this may actually block your code, and it may sit around. So you do have to be careful what you do. So just to keep that in mind, that's another way of actually taking this out. And what you could do also is, anytime you use the await, you can even do something as simple as this. What if you don't want to, you just want to say print await file dot short. You could do that too. And it'll go right inside here too. Anytime you put the await in front of future, again, it'll rip the contents out of the future and give you just the contents, which would be the string. Okay, so that's another thing to keep in mind itself. But again, this is the complicated part. It depends upon what you want to do. If you want to do one thing, and then when that ends, you want to do the next thing, and then that ends, if you want it in order, you can do it this way. If not, you can do it several ways. So in this manner, I'm going to comment this all out. What if here I wanted to actually go ahead and say, okay, I want the short file, the short to activate, then the medium, then the long. I don't want to do it all separately. I don't want to do it asynchronously. I want one, then the next, then the next. The first thing is await, right? Async await. That would be the easiest thing to actually do. But in other programming languages, they might not have async await. So what you would have to do is this, then and you wouldn't really do anything. Hang on, I'm getting there. Actually, what you would have to do is file.medium. Then over here you would say then. Then you would say, oh, you would still have to put here contents. Because you'd still have to have that parameter right inside here. Treating that contents, then we would have this, and this would be file.long dot then, okay? So you can do that also. contents, string contents, print contents, and that should print long text. So this is one way where you would have, let me see if we can format this. You would go first do the file.medium, well, file.short, then file.medium, then file.long, and then print the contents. So this is what we call a nested callback. So do one, then the next, because you want it to be in that order. This is just one level down, but there are some times when it goes levels and levels and levels, and it's very, very hard to read. So sometimes using async would make that so much easier to read if you want to get async and turn it into more of a synchronous thing. It's not truly synchronous, of course, because you can get this and you can wait for it anywhere inside the code itself. It just gives you a little bit of flexibility. So sometimes you want this, sometimes you want this. It depends on what you're actually looking for. Okay? So just remember, the behavior of await is different from the .then, but that's another option itself. So I hope that's actually clear in what we're using when we use futures, and then we're trying to use async, and the way in order to get the future, which wraps around the string, and get that value out of there.